Welcome, everybody. It is time for Tao of the Day. Are you ready to get your Tao down? let's get down with the Tao. It is going on 7:30 here in Central Time. I haven't even opened up my computer yet, just jumping right on. I'm really appreciative of this platform and what I get to do on this platform and talk about on this platform. I'm really excited to get down with the Tao. So if anybody wants to step up and give me a number between 1 and 81, we can chat a little Tao Te Ching. So the Tao Te Ching is a ancient text about 600, written in about 600 AD, translated by hundreds, if not thousands, of people. I use the Stephen Mitchell version, translated in the mid 80s. There's also a number of different translations that I could lean on if I need. Usually, Stephen Mitchell is the most accessible for our modern time, but there is Jane English. Jane English has a wonderful version that was written in the 70s. It was translated in the 70s or published in the 70s, let's say. There was also Isabel Mears, published in the early 1900s, that I will lean on the odd occasion. So, what is Tao of the Day? Well, Tao of the Day is you come up and pick one of the 81 verses by just picking a number. Pick a number, any number that's come into your heart. Come on up, give me a number. I'll read that Tao for you. And from there, we'll go through it line by line. We'll get your kind of initial take on it. We'll talk about, like, what does that look like? What do these words look like in your life today? The Tao is a magical sort of expression. When you pick a number, we get this like, if there is a number within you and you get to pick a number, you get to pick a number that and whatever comes up is going to be the thing that you need to hear right now. This may be like picking a card or whatever in tarot and other things like that. It's 81 verses, and each verse is just a light of some sort of wisdom. I was talking to someone yesterday who is on the journey to the priesthood, and I mentioned the Tao to him, and surprisingly, he hadn't heard of it. Or he had heard of it but doesn't really know much about it. So, Energy Lady, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's way early in the morning. It's 5:30.
It's 5. Yeah, I got up this morning. So I'm prepping for my dark retreat, as I think you know, and so I'm trying to get up to a 3-hour sit in a meditation. So I got up this morning at 3, and I sat till 5, and here it is 7:30. As I'm just getting on to my day. So
Wow. What
my
what
day
it
has
what
been
is your
going on for quite some time.
what date is your retreat?
I go on the 24th of March, so I'm going to try and get up to a 3-hour sit by then. I'm doing 2 hours. I did 2 hours this morning, but it was very scattered, so I gotta really sit down, and I'm focusing on daily hour and a half, and then I'm dipping into my 2 hour, but I gotta keep my mind. I gotta keep my mind quiet because I'm gonna be in the dark for like 6 days.
Are you excited?
I am very excited. A little scared. A little scared. Can't lie. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited about experiencing darkness, like, to that extent.
It's gonna be interesting. That's all I got.
What was that?
I said it's gonna be interesting. That's all I got.
Yep, that's it. That's all it's gonna be. It's that's not gonna be much. Like, whatever it is, it's gonna be coming from me. So do you got a number for me today, love?
Yes, I do. 16.
16. Oh, empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. And when death comes, you are ready.
Is death coming? No, I'm only kidding. Um, Amazingly, as I went to bed last night and decided I was going to do a cellular fast today for the first time in all of my years of living.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my body was never ready for it because it was so out of balance physically
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I, no, lightheaded. And for some reason, I'm just going to do a liquid one today
Good.
and, yeah, and clear the mind. So it's kind of on the same realm. It's funny as I'm doing my morning stuff and I keep taking things out for breakfast. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing breakfast.
That's not what I'm doing today.
No, no, that's just not part of my realm today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, yeah, let's just break it down because
Yeah.
it's the most amazing thing is I feel clear. I've never felt clear when it comes to this. There's always been fear inside of it. So,
Right.
um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there's,
just,
we have, like I've fasted, I fasted for 7 days once. I fast, and now like I fast from 16 to 20 hours a day.
yeah, and
Uh,
that's what I've been doing. So I mean, there's times
oh, so
I
you're
do about
prepared.
12 to 16, right? And
Yeah.
I'm thinking I can do liquid. It's not a
Yeah.
problem.
No.
In my head, I'm like, no, but my cells are ready for it, and that's the big deal right there.
And I talked yesterday about living under the influence, and it's amazing how much influence food has over us.
Oh, absolutely. And I noticed when with the shift that I'm doing, I really did make a shift on Nancy Girl,
Yeah.
that I've allowed her to pretty much go into hibernation so that we can love and appreciate her and let her come out whole.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so let's go through this. Like, empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace with the Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. You know, and it seemed like that's funny. That's exactly what you said that you're doing with Nancy Girl,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Oh,
Empty
by the
your
way,
mind.
yeah, I want to tell you the instigation was reading the Tao that Wayne Dyer said, and that was one of he always suggests doing something with the Tao that you read. You
Yeah.
know, it's like he does he tells you his interpretation, and then he tells you whatever he summarizes it, and then he gives you a do this Tao for the day, whatever it is,
Okay.
and it was do a cleanse,
Oh,
do a fast.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So timing is everything. So yeah, let's keep going. I just want to throw that out there.
No, that's beautiful. So, like, yeah, this says, like, empty your mind of all thoughts. And I think, like, during a cleanse, it's going to be important for you to not think, right? Because when you
Right.
think, the first thing you're going to think of is food, right?
Well,
Because
that's the one thing he suggested. This is exactly. He suggested that when your mind goes into you need food, he says lay down and meditate and remind yourself of where you came from,
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
which is exactly what you were saying.
yeah. And then let your heart be at peace. When you are so often in our world, at least, because food is so accessible, when we feel uncomfortable about something, we reach for a snack, right? Like
Oh
we
no, and
reach for
yeah,
that.
I've been doing that. Yeah, because snacks are
Yeah,
good, especially where I
that
found this
snacks are,
place that
yeah,
has
that's
amazing.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, yeah.
snacks are good, and they just keep getting better, and then they tell us how healthy they are.
Mhm. Mhm.
So then it says, watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. Like, without judgment, without fear for them or yourself. Like, you just watch the turmoil, because they're all in turmoil. We are all in turmoil. And in some place, no matter how healthy or happy we are, we're in turmoil in some area, or it's about to come, or it's just ending, or whatever. There's always that sort of
Mm,
shift. But
You mean
contemplate the return.
you mean we're perfectly imperfect,
I,
and we're here to
I,
evolve and
I,
expand in the energies that we are?
that's right.
Just
That's
saying.
right. In
Just
every
saying.
every moment, each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. And that's the thing. Like, we could often, like, and this happens to me, we can often get fooled by us being serene in a moment and be like, oh, look, I've made it through. And then it's like, oh, here it is again. Like, the turmoil is back. But we always are going to return to that common source. And so, understanding that, knowing that, like, change is always going to happen, and we're always going to go back. Now, what is it that I'm learning through this experience? What is it that I'm seeing? And do I and this goes back to empty your minds. If you're caught in the space of the turmoil, then your mind is full of all of the worry and fantasy
Hmm.
that desire brings.
And what I
If you
heard when you said that was an old trigger. Can you hear me? Can
You're
you hear
breaking up
me?
just a bit. Yeah, I
Hello?
got you. Nope, you're breaking up again. Mm. Nope, little
Hello.
bloop, bloop, bloop. Gotcha, gotcha.
Is that any better?
That's better. That's better right there.
It's
Go
funny. I
move.
no,
I'm.
no, no. I turned off my internet on my phone. It worked.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens.
No, I'm outside, and sometimes it goes into the matrix.
Right.
Um, no, it's just funny. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Just how this is because all I'm doing is flushing out my my whole life.
Yeah.
So, and it's on a cellular level now because I've built physically, I've rebuilt my cells for like the last 2 years, very conscious, have been rebuilding my gut and everything else. So this is perfect to
So
to
it
figure.
can. Yeah. It continues to say, if you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. Like realizing the source of you, right? Like just like Wayne Dyer had said in that book, right? Like meditate and remember like where you come from, who you are.
Well, if it was like yesterday, I just wanted to say, I really appreciate you a lot because you're the first person that has allowed me to be in the space that I was in yesterday. But when you didn't say, "What do you need?" but I told you what I needed, and you sat there and did it. You're the first person in all of my years who said, "Why don't we just allow you to be centered in you?" The first
Mm.
person ever. Understand that. So,
Well, I'm well, I'm glad, but I'm also sorry because I hate that.
no.
Like that you've had to exist this long without someone just being there to let you be you.
Right. And you didn't say, let's fix you. You went, okay. And then all of a sudden I claimed what I wanted and you went, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh, shit, she knows what she wants. Okay.
Absolutely you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely you do.
So I wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I very much because that showed me that it's not what I experienced before. It's the fact of where I am today and I'm allowing myself to be there.
Yeah. That's right.
And yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. When you
Yeah.
realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant,
Mhm.
disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother and dignified as a king.
What a statement right there. Kind-hearted as a
Yeah.
grandma.
Yeah.
I'm a new
Kind-hearted
grandma.
grandma. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
and owning that, like right, owning that when you realize where you come from. Like, and
yeah.
it's not being where you come from, but when you realize where you come from, just like, yes, both, and this is, paradoxical, or at least covers more ground, because when you realize that you are here now because you came from not only source, but also all the turmoil that you experienced in your life.
Hmm.
And
And
by realizing that, you can become increasingly tolerant. You can become disinterested in solving problems. Like that's what's, like that's what
no,
allowed
that's what
me.
I'm cleansing. I'm cleansing that,
Yeah,
Martin John,
yeah,
because I was taught that I had to solve everybody's problems.
right, right. And
And
the only reason that I was able to sit with you in a space of just like let you be you is because I'm not interested in who you become or where you're coming from. I'm interested in you. Disinterested in all of the manifestation, but knowing that you are part of source. And that's what allows that sort of a thing. A lot of therapists and things, they get really interested in, because their ego is so attached to it. So
it's
they
their
want they
training
want to
too.
solve. Yeah, it's their training. And their training teaches them to kind of pat themselves on the back for what they know.
Sorry.
No, it's
I shouldn't
true.
laugh at that, right?
It's no, it's well, this is, the Tao talks about the feminine, and our world has moved towards the masculine, which is a patting yourself on the back of doing and doing and doing rather than being and playing and accepting.
Right. And if you didn't see my post yesterday on Instagram, go take a look at it because you just described what I wrote.
I'll definitely check it out. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. And when death comes, you are ready. And and when we talk about death in the Tao, of course, there is the physical death, but there is also the death of that which you were, the death of your old identity, the death
Right. And the
of that
death of
which you cling
emotions.
to. Yes, and the death of everything that makes you you. From the body to the mind. Like, when that comes, you're ready to let go. You're ready to just allow that to die, and you can step into like, you can step into being the energy lady, and then you can step into being Nancy again as a new incarnation, not the old Nancy. When you're ready, it will be there, and you can allow death to come to it if that's what's necessary.
Well, death is, to me, is stopping the old and allowing and let it settle so the new can come in.
Yes, absolutely. And for everything. It's not,
Right.
it's yeah, it is, like, and the ultimate of that, of course, is our physical death. And when that comes, we'll be ready.
Imagine, yeah,
Heroin.
imagine how many cells are going to die for today just because they've been holding on, waiting for me to do this.
Right. Yeah. And you're going to clear out all of the cells that are older and weaker and holding on, and then the new cells that are young and open and have more life are going to step in.
Right, and it's perfect in my space, perfect timing due to the fact that I've allowed Nancy to hibernate for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's great. I love that. And I'm so glad that, one, I was able to just kind of hold space with you yesterday, and also be able to, share the Tao, and it always be so on point for you.
Thank you, my love. We'll be
Absolutely.
chatting. I do appreciate you, and I'm going to see what Wayne Dyer has to say in his thing.
Yeah.
It's expanded.
Will do. Oh, it's always nice to share the Tao. Do you have a number, just in your mind? Do you have a number between 1 and 81 that you want to share? Because the Tao has so much insight for us. And just like I did with the energy lady, I would be glad to bring you up and do. Oh, Nafisa, one of my faves. Nafisa's coming up, and we're going to pick a number. Nafisa, how are you, dear?
Hey, Martin John. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's been a beautiful morning, and prepping with some meditation, and now I'm doing some Tao. Everything is just going smooth.
Oh,
Now
that
you have a
sounds
daughter,
fun.
so are things going smooth in your world?
Yes, yes. I love the flow. I love the dance. It feels like a dance to me right now. And I'm just loving the fact that I always come back to my breath, and always saying, you know what, I trust you. I know that I'm already being guided. So it's not like
Yeah.
you're going to guide me. No, I'm already being guided. So I choose to trust the process. I choose to trust that I am exactly where I need to be. Yeah, so it's been amazing.
No, I'm so glad to
And
hear
how are
that.
you? Oh,
I
sorry, I
Yes, I'm
already asked
doing
that.
very
Yeah.
well, and I'm looking forward. I'm looking. We could do this all day. We could. Energy Lady and I did 16. Do you have a number
Yeah.
for us?
Okay, let's take 40, shall we?
40 or one
Yeah,
four?
40.
40.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a very short one, but its brevity doesn't necessarily. And I always say brevity. I don't think that means short, but
Mm,
either way,
yeah.
um, return is the movement of the Tao. Yielding is the way of the Tao. All things are born of being. Being is born of non-being. Okay,
Oh,
so that's really brief,
yeah.
but it is right along the lines of something that I've been contemplating recently in my meditations and things. And
Mm.
so, do you have any thoughts initially? And I
What's the
can read
first
that
line?
again because it's so
Okay,
short.
please.
So,
Yeah.
return is the movement of the Tao, yielding is the way of the Tao. All things are born of being,
Mm.
being is born of non being.
Oh, okay. I can start with my own perspective, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what I see is we reflect whatever we feel in our inner being. And usually for us to get to that place of being means that, well, usually there are devastating experiences that happen in our lives, maybe breakups in relationships, the loss of a loved one, diagnosis of a disease, whatever it is that makes us to hit rock bottom. And this is something that is outside of us, but then it takes us on an inner journey with ourselves. Uh, and for every stage that we find ourselves in on our healing journey, on that journey of self-discovery, we find ourselves, coming back to being. But then, and then it reflects on our outside world. It reflects how we see people. This is, I don't know, I'm trying to talk as I'm thinking right now, but
Yeah.
really this is what I see. So it's a kind of a ping pong, but then the more we do that, we visit the depth of our shadows. We go back to the core of who we are as we do that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So this is right. Like like what you're saying is we
Mm.
continue what I see you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong. We
Yeah,
have to, in order to center, we have to continue to return to the void,
we have to.
right?
Yes, that is.
Like that's what I hear you saying.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, and it's hard because like there is language, and like how do we use the language that we use every
Yeah,
day, and like we don't really use the term the void, but what you're saying by returning, going out into the world and then going back inside,
going back
going
inside.
out into the world, going back into that which is void, that which is
Mm,
nothing, that which is us, but we
mm.
can't describe, because if you could describe it, then it wouldn't be it once again.
Exactly. So I picture it more than I can describe it, really.
Yes,
And this
yes.
is why
And you
I'm
can
finding it
feel
hard
it.
to get words. Yeah.
Right. And feeling it is something that is important before you can, like, and then you just want to describe it. So it's like,
Mm.
as an artist, I have that problem all the time of like, oh, I have this idea, but the tools at my disposal, i.e. my hands and my ability and all that, can only point to it.
Yeah.
It can't envelop it completely.
Mm-mm.
So I'm going to go off on a little explanation of how I see this. And I think it relates very much back to what you're talking about. So I've been thinking about the universe. So instead of
Mm.
thinking of the small, i.e.
Yeah.
the individual, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of the large, the universe as a whole. So when we start this, it says return is the movement of the Tao, yielding is the way of the Tao. This kind of lays out for me, because yielding is a word that I use for yin or feminine energy,
Mm.
right? Yielding and returning, where masculine energy is forceful and penetrating, right?
Yeah.
So all things are born of being, and being
Mm.
is masculine, but being is born of non-being, which is feminine, right? So being is the doing, and then being, which is doing, is born of non-being or yielding.
Oh.
Okay, so this has been a big, big kind of topic in my meditations. And so I look at, if you were in the void, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you are in the void, you would not be able to tell if you were moving or not. If
Mm.
you are in the void, you would not know what is up and
Or
what is
down.
down. You would not know what time is. You would be in complete and utter blankness. There would be no space. There would be no thing. It would just be you in the void. Now, if you happen to be wearing clothes in the void,
Mm.
you would be able to remove a bit of your clothes and put it somewhere. Once you've done that, you have created a marker, right? Now, the entire universe, the entire void exists behind this shirt. And you now have created structure within the void. You have created the masculine within the feminine. Because with you alone in the void, it is just you. There is no reference.
Mm.
There is no reference whatsoever. And so once you place that shirt or that sock in space, you can now reference yourself to it. And so
Mm.
all things are born of being. You can't have a thing unless you have a structure. That structure is the being. That structure is the sock in relation to you.
Yeah.
But being, that sock, is born from non-being.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And I'm looking at it, just like there's this interconnectedness, isn't it, between darkness and light. Without darkness, we wouldn't be able to distinguish light. So in order to get to the light, we have to be able to sit with the darkness, because there's that dance that, we have to experience each of them where they are. Um, Okay, okay, Martin John. I just want to say that I understand. I understand fully. But then what I see is really that interconnectedness. I see the flow. I see also one not existing without the other,
Right. It's
or not being
impossible.
complete. Yeah.
Well, that's not true. Like
Okay.
I would say the feminine, when we're out in the void, it
Mm,
is the feminine. It is, but it is yielding, meaning it swallows everything.
mm.
So until there is a reference, everything gets lost in that.
Wow.
Right? So the feminine exists first, but that in the Tao we talk about the idea that it was never born, it will never die, and that's the thing. The feminine, that which receives, that which is yielding, will always exist. But in that's the only way the male or the yang energy can exist, is by having that there first, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't know the feminine without the masculine, but the
Yeah.
feminine will exist under everything first, because from that all is born.
Hmm. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. But if the feminine was there, from the beginning, then you wouldn't call it feminine, would you?
No, because you
With
couldn't
the
have,
present.
like, no, you would call it void, right?
Yeah.
That's why we utilize
Mm-hmm.
that term void.
Yeah.
But in the void, right, the void, what does the void do? It swallows everything. It
Mm.
receives everything. You're able to penetrate the void, but you have to do that with doing. You have to do that with being. You have to do that with something, right? Because if if it's if it's just an idea, it's going to get lost in the void, and that's where manifestation comes. Manifestation comes because manifestation a is a state of contributing, is a state of penetrating.
Mm. Oh, okay, this is deep. I think I'm going to use the rest of my day to think about this.
And it should be said that I've been thinking about this for weeks. So
Well, okay, then maybe I need more than a day.
well, no, I'm just saying it is like this is right on the tip of my tongue right now. So it
Mm.
is something that it's exciting for me.
Yeah.
Um, because and when we start this line, I want to reread it again because it is so short. Return is the movement of the Tao. So
Mm.
things are always going to return, and yielding is the way of the Tao. It's not about, the Tao isn't about acting upon something. It's about allowing space for things to be acted within.
Oh, yes, I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that word, allowing.
Yeah, me too. It's been a word that I've been really embracing to really express what it means to embrace one's femininity, or that yin energy. I don't want to say femininity as woman. I
Yeah.
want to say feminine
That's the energy.
power. Yeah, the
Yeah.
energy of
Mm.
allowing.
Yeah.
That is such a powerful, like
Yeah.
yielding and allowing are like powerful things. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have the vocabulary to embrace that in the Western world as much as I would like.
Oh, and you know the way I picture the feminine energy, it's validating, it's protecting. So it's kind of you hugging yourself, you know, coming back to yourself, which is not so much. It's not. And I heard you talking with the energy lady about how we have we have shifted, or we have put more power in the masculine energy, especially with the doing and the doing. And then it's time to come back to being, or it's time to come back to validating ourselves, you know, to looking inwards, to protecting ourselves. Okay.
Yes,
But yeah,
and yeah, to allowing ourselves, like just
allow
allow ourselves,
compassionate. Yeah.
right? Because when we're always doing, we're comparing,
Mm,
we're looking out, and we're
yeah.
saying, well, you're not allowed to play, as the energy lady would say, or you're not allowed to intuit, as
Mm,
Catherine would say, or you're not allowed to be, you're not allowed to be who you are because of things that you have learned, or things that you're living under the influence of, as I would say.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Nafisa,
okay.
it is always so profound to engage with you, and I really
Same
appreciate it.
here. Same here. I'm truly grateful. Thank you so much, Martin John. You hold such amazing space here. Yeah, and I'm truly grateful to know you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm gonna switch over to Catherine, and then we'll
Cool.
be in touch again soon.
All right. Bye.
Catherine, I mentioned you just a second ago, and I didn't even know you were here.
Hello.
Hello. How are you, my dear? How's
Uh,
Spencer?
he's good. He's well, since we had to get our air conditioning heat fixed so many times, and they were here at like the crack of dawn. We're early birds now.
Oh wow, yeah, it's early for you.
Yeah, we're. I don't. Yeah, it's something's wrong. The world isn't right. That's what I'm saying. I'm losing my Winston Churchill abilities.
And what did he do
He stayed
other
up
than
all night
smoke?
and worked from the bathtub.
Oh, see, I my association with Churchill is when I smoked cigars, I would smoke a size Churchill. Like there's a size of cigar that is a Churchill,
Oh
and it
no,
is
he stayed up all night and he would sit in the bathtub, and his secretaries would have to sit like at the keyhole to listen as they write down all his speeches and everything.
wow,
I
that's
know.
eccentric.
It's cool, is what it is.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't cool. I just said it was eccentric. All right, what are
It's
we
funny.
gonna explore today?
28.
28. Oh, yes. This is Jeopardy. No.
Jeopardy.
No.
Yes.
Know the male, yet keep to the female. Interesting
Well,
that
Oh.
we were talking about this with Nafisa. Return receive the world in your arms. If you receive the world, the Tao will never leave you, and you will be like a little child. Know the white, yet keep to the black. Be a pattern for the world. And we were talking about light and darkness with Nafisa as well. If
well,
you are a pattern for the world, the Tao will be strong inside you, and there will be nothing you can't do. Know the personal, yet keep to the impersonal. Accept the world as it is. If you accept the world, the Tao will be luminous inside you, and you will return to your primal self. The world is formed from the void, like utensils from a block of wood. The master knows the utensils, yet keeps to the block. Thus, she can use all things. That's it.
can we just say yin and yang?
Yin and yang. This is really just exploring this like yin and yang experience, and in different ways. I think And I went through this yesterday. I picked 28 yesterday. And so this is also part of why Nafisa and I had that conversation about male and female, or masculine energy or feminine energy, da, da, da. So yeah, so this is yeah, like as it starts, know the male, yet keep to the female. Like everything returns to the female. So like, yes, the house, but keep to the space in the house. Keep like that's the feminine, right? That's what receives. That's what yields.
Yeah, and also I think of, yin and yang as being aware of all, where I don't know, sometimes that word of, yeah, Spencer's up.
Getting excited.
Yeah, he wants grandma to wake up. Um,
Uh,
as that balance is actually not necessary. It's more about being able to be in whatever it is you need to be in at the moment, and don't worry about having equality of everything. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah.
I
Like 'cause
feel,
each thing has its own strengths and weaknesses, and
yeah. And I just like the way this is written, because I really feel that, how a lot of these, I always use the word guru because that's the way it is, are like, oh, make sure it's balanced and it's like a wheel, or fill out this thing or whatever. So that's all the areas are filled in the same amount, so that,
hmm,
and I'm like, it doesn't really work that way.
right,
I mean, sometimes so the way this is written, it really makes me feel like sometimes you're going to lean more on this and sometimes you're going to lean more on that.
right.
And as long as you have the ability to be in one or the other and have a little bit of both here or there, that's what life, that's how the experience of this journey is.
It's interesting. I mean, we read those first two lines, and then we have these next, like, just the way it's written, these four lines. Receive the world in your arms.
Mm-hmm.
If you receive the world, the Tao will never leave you, and you will be like a little child. A little child isn't trying to balance its life, right?
No.
Isn't trying to be one thing over another. It's going to be a pirate at one moment, and then it's going to, throw its
They,
food across the room the next moment. And it's like those two things aren't connected other than in that moment, like, and
right.
through that identity that they hold at this moment.
And they'll go through 4 or 5 months where they wear a Superman costume and they won't let you take it off to wash it.
Right.
And then they move on to something else.
And this in this middle line here is really kind of powerful. This the Tao will never leave you. This
Mm-hmm.
idea that like if a guru says no, you need to look at, like, no, bitch, the Tao is with me. Like, I know what's up. Like
Yeah.
even though I'm out of balance right now, that's like, according to you, that's an important aspect for me to move forward into where I'm going.
Yeah. And, the Tao will always be with you. It's expected to always be there. It's always available, whether you're
Right.
acknowledging it at that moment or not. It has not gone away. You haven't,
Right.
turned it off. Now you got to find a way to find back to it. It's always
That's
there.
right. It's
Always.
always there for you.
Yep.
That's beautiful, because I know that we can often get stuck in this idea of being afraid that we'll never get there again. I know I still do that, and that's okay. Like
Oh
when you get into that place where it's just like, oh, I feel like so lost. Like November and December were very much like that for me. And then as January came in and I was kind of settled into not doing, I was like, all right, well, I just have faith. And then now as February's coming in, I'm feeling this, okay, I'm coming
yeah.
out of it. It's not even coming out of it. I am here now. And I had always been here, and I was just scared or worried about not being able to be there. And so this line to remember, the Tao will never leave you, is really kind of key.
Yes. Oh, well, I mean, that is not only just kind of key, that is it.
That's it.
Because
That's it. Yeah.
you have open to it in order to consistently be open to it, or bring yourself back to being open to it. You really have to know that it's always available.
Yeah. Know the white, yet keep to the black. Be a pattern in the world.
Yeah, that's that, you don't have to be one thing.
Right. You don't like if you are, and then it continues to say, like, if you are a pattern for the world, the Tao will be strong
Hmm.
within you, and there will be nothing you can't do. And
Oh,
that doesn't go on.
that's so true. There's nothing you can't do. Everything you need is within you. You are the
That's
pattern.
right.
Yeah. And you are your own individual, singular pattern that is only yours, no one else's.
Right. And you don't need someone else to complete that pattern. And you don't need
No,
something else to complete that pattern. You don't need more money to complete that pattern. You are that pattern.
you don't need directions from someone else how to complete
On
that.
how to make that pattern.
Right.
That pattern emerges from you.
Yep.
And when we look at white and black, like under these circumstances, it kind of seems to me it's figure ground, right? When we look at the void which is all, which is nothingness, right? That's the black. That is earlier when I was talking with Nafisa about 40, I was talking about this grand space of the void. And then once you put a sock in it, that sock creates structure, and that sock, like for me, because all my socks are white, like this is that white pattern against the black, and so there's that pattern. Now there is a reference point. Be a pattern, be a reference. If you're a pattern for the world, the Tao will be strong within you because you are able to be there, and there will be nothing you can't do
Yeah.
because you
Like,
because you
I,
constantly recall the black, the void. Go on.
so interesting because I actually see um, patterns of color in my mind show up with the
Mm.
black and white line. That line about black and the
Yeah,
black
know
and
the
white.
white, yet keep to the black.
Yeah, I see all these amazing, like highly detailed patterns of color that show up in my mind.
That's interesting as well because, depending on how we look at it, like if we look at it as light or pigment, there's
Hmm.
differences here because, like, white is all color,
Yep.
or white is all in the sense of light, it is all color, and black in the sense of pigment is all color. And so, as we look at these things, and I think as I'm talking about the void, I'm talking about the light, because if there's nothing there, then light can't be there, right? Like you can't
Right.
see light if there's nothing for it to
Right.
bounce off of. And
Right.
once you know the white, you have structure, you have color.
Yep. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you are not one thing. Because
No.
you add in color to all of those, it's all of the amazing aspects of yourself, the facets that reflect all the different rainbow lights that come off of it.
Right. And that lists, like that covers light and pigment.
Yep.
And so that covers everything, right? Like being able to see something and being able, like, not only being able to see it because of its color, but being able to see it because of the color of light.
Yeah.
Know the personal, yet keep to the. Wait, yeah. Did you have something?
I don't think so.
Okay. Know the personal, yet keep to the impersonal. Accept the world as it is. If you accept the world, the Tao will be luminous inside you, and you will return to your primal self.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, I think, because what does that mean? Expect the world as is? Because I keep hearing, I can't stand this term. It is what it is. I really want to just
Mm.
one in the nose when they say that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it is
Because,
what it is.
yeah, because it just feels like just such giving up. Me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not really accepting it. It's
no.
just like it's throwing your hands up.
Yes, throwing your hands up. And I feel like what this is really saying, accept the world as it is, see all the facets, the colors that are hidden within the black and the white. When you look at it closer, all of the amazing facets come through, and be open and aware to see all of that, the wholeness of it all.
Yeah. I was talking to the energy lady earlier about something similar to this idea of know the personal yet keep to the impersonal. It's so important to be impersonal and not get all caught up in the emotions of other people. You have to allow them to be where they're at, and without judgment. And by saying, like you said, like, it is what it is, like, you're dismissing them because you are in your own head doing whatever you're doing. But like,
Right.
you should know the personal, know that you're connecting with like me, but keep to the
Hmm.
impersonal. Don't get so involved. This is very similar to when I talk to addicts in ILP programs and I say, look, I don't care about your sobriety. Like, I care about you.
Yeah.
So I know the
Yeah.
personal, that you are addicts, but I also am knowing the impersonal, because like, I'm like,
Hmm.
what you do is your business.
Right. And
The
people get
world,
very offended. Say
yeah,
like, I don't really care what you end up doing. Here's some things you could do. I care about you as a person, but whatever it is that you do, I don't care about that. You don't care? Well, it doesn't have any bearing on
yeah,
anything.
it has no bearing on me. And what does it serve me to care? Because you
Right,
can do whatever you want.
right, right.
The world is formed from the void, as we've been talking, like utensils from a block of wood. The master knows the utensil, yet keeps to the block. Thus, she can use all things.
Ooh,
This one is always interesting, because I think about the block of wood as something you can carve anything out of.
yes.
But you keep to the tool that you've carved. Or you know the tool that you're carving, the thing that you're carving, but the block of wood is at its core, like, you can always make that block of wood something, anything else.
Well, yeah. And how much of that, how big is this block of wood? You're making something out of it. What's left? Can you make something out of what's left? There's always something more creative that can come from you. You don't feel like, again, I come back to we are not just one thing. And that block of wood is not just one
A
thing.
utensil, right? And
It's
it's this go on.
its purpose is not just to create a utensil. It could be like, maybe there's a little piece left that you can make.
Oh, you cut out. Lois is on the line, but I want you to come in and land that if you want. What's interesting to me is the way it starts. The world is formed from the void, and the utensil, like a utensil from a block of wood. So you keep your mind on the void, on everything that it could be, just like you were saying. I love that. Thank you so much, Catherine. We're going to bring Lois on and see what number Lois has for me today. So everybody that is listening, as I'm bringing Lois up, if you have a number between 1 and 81, definitely come up and get in line. Lois, no one's
Never.
behind Lois. So, hey, Lois, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good, Martin John. How are you doing?
I love my life, girl.
Girl, boy,
Good, good,
boy.
good, 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 bad or indifferent. I love what I do.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I love you, because it's just you. I just love you, Martin. But
Oh,
I have 19 today.
19. Good old number 19. This is another short one, so we might be able to dive deep. Okay. Throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier. Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. Throw away industry and profit, and there won't be any thieves. If there if these three aren't enough, just stay in the center of the circle and let all things take their course.
Ooh, wow.
So
Okay,
what are some of your initial thoughts there? Like these are always like sometimes I read them, and like, by the time I get to the end, I forget the beginning.
I did forget the beginning, but it all still flowed all together. Basically, one is about staying balanced. That's what the first thing I heard when you were talking is about being balanced regardless to what the situation is. But give me the line by line again.
Yeah, so this is what's interesting about this one, like, because it really kind of talks about how do we look at the world around us. So it starts with this idea: throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier.
Okay, when you're trying to be holy and you're trying to be smart about stuff, one, you either head too much or you in your heart too much. because that's that yin and yang thing that I told you. We got to have that balance. I mean, because if you're too much in your head and then intellectualism, you'll miss all the shit. Okay, because you ain't into your heart enough. And if you're in your heart too much and not using your intellect or your nous, which is your mind or your intellect with that intuition, then you're gonna get lost. It's like getting lost in a white hole or the black hole. But when you put them together, you end up with balance. But go to the next line.
Well, hold on. Let me say a little something about this
Okay,
too.
okay, go. Okay, no, I'm just
Pushing me through.
no, I'm trying to figure out. I couldn't remember
No,
everything. I don't
I
have
think
my
that's
pen and write it down or anything today. You got to
yeah.
write down what you
Well, I
say so
can.
I don't
If
forget. Remember.
you ever wanted to continue, I don't know if I've sent you links and stuff, but if
Uh
you
huh.
ever wanted, you can reach out to me on Instagram, and I'll send you the text. Just because it's just copy and paste, so I can just
Oh,
send you
okay,
the
okay,
text. It's really easy.
okay.
So throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier. I think about this as like the two big institutions, right?
Hmm.
Education and the church, like. And like you were saying, this idea of well, the way I look at it is like if you're holy, then you rise to the top of your church group. If you're wise, you rise to the top of your education group.
Hmm.
And it's about achieving. That's how I see this. I see
Hmm.
this as being like, oh, I'm better than, or I'm this, or I'm that. Like it is about like centering yourself on this idea that like you're good, or you're like you are doing it right. There is no
Uh-huh.
doing it right.
No, there isn't. That's why I said the rules of the religion or the rules of the that you will receive in school that by learning. If you
Yep.
go by that, looking for validation in that, that's how I. I mean, I'm just saying because I saw
That's
I said
exactly what I'm saying.
seeing the
Yeah.
validation in that. Then yeah, you've gone the highest what the man said, but the thing is that you ain't really went no damn where because you're locked in a set of a mindset that's not going to let you grow.
Right. It's not even yours.
And okay, that part too. But it's like it's a program. It's like okay, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to be the good Christian. I went through this
Yeah.
shit. That's why I've said it's
Yeah.
about
I
balance.
hear it.
I don't be the good Christian. I'm gonna be the good Christian. I'm gonna do what they say. I'm gonna do everything they say. Okay, I'm not gonna smoke. I'm not gonna drink. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do. And I had all these rules that I fucking had to follow in order to be something that wasn't real.
That's
Okay.
right. That's
And
right.
then education. Okay, you gotta get your A's. You gotta get your A's. You gotta get your A's. You gotta be the best one in the class, best one in the class, best one in the class.
Hmm.
Fuck all that shit.
Fuck
Okay?
all that shit, and
Okay, that's
you'll be 100 times happier.
thank you. And when I said fuck all that shit, the grades came by themselves. The
That's right.
the holiness came when it needs to, and the mouth come out when it needs to. It's a balance. I need all of that. I don't need to just focus on what the world says. I don't need to just focus on what they say the Bible says. I need to hear it all. And if I'm locked in one frame of thought, I will not grow. It's just that simple.
That's
I'm
right.
gonna be stagnant, and I'm gonna be sitting there. Oh, wonder when the next shoe gonna drop.
Right. And you're not going to be happy, right? And so here,
No.
like this is the Tao by Lois. Fuck all that shit, and people will be 100 times happier.
That's right. There it is, right there.
Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing.
Because if you're trying to live up to the laws that everybody made and not consulting yourself, because when you consult yourself, you have a different morality code. Because it's like the lady was saying, I don't know what conversation it was. She was
Nafisa
saying
or
somebody was saying yesterday when I heard them talking to somebody. They said, "Well, when you wait, let me read it again because I lost my train of thought."
throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing.
Okay, we were talking about moral codes and truth and honesty. That's what we were talking about. And when you tell the truth, regardless of how you tell the truth, you got to be careful that oh my God, that you are coming from the right intention with the information that you bring in, so that I think you're in on the conversation, so that when you telling the truth, that isn't hurting the person. It's not
Hmm.
even you know what I'm saying.
I was
It
clapping for you when you were talking about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay. It's not you're not doing it in order to hurt somebody. You're not doing it in order to be a part of it. And then you get a different set of morality. You'll tell the truth, but you won't tell the truth if that truth is going to cause somebody to be in danger.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's like
You
it's a
will make
moral code
amends
and an ethical
unless it
code
will do
and
more harm.
yes, do okay. And my thing, okay, mine was if I can't help you, my thing is do no harm but take no shit. That's my new motto now.
Go on.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just a matter of when you allow yourself. I'm gonna say when you allow yourself to just be, and all that morality and them other codes that you were programmed with are allowed to rest and go to a nice quiet death or a nice place of surrender. You get resurrected with freedom. You get resurrected with a whole bunch of other stuff besides that BS.
Yeah, like that. The idea here is, once again, there's holiness and wisdom. Holiness being the godly and the church, right? And then
Right.
wisdom is the school, and then we have morality, and morality is built by culture and built by
Yep.
the church, and then we have justice, which is built by the law. And when we get rid of those things, people will do the right thing, but it's when you keep
Yes.
telling them, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, then it becomes something people want to do.
Okay, exactly. That's the and you can't help it either. Because the minute somebody tell me, "Oh, Lois, the doctor said you can't do that," how you gonna read something? Someone gonna tell you you're gonna get healed? That ain't true. You need to listen to what they saying, and you need to take that damn medicine. I said no. My spirit said don't take the medicine because God was gonna do a thing in me.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
And I didn't give a shit what they said, and because I didn't, Lois is still here.
That's right. See, and
Okay, I
and
wouldn't
and
believe a
and you're
lie.
doing great.
Okay, and that's what I'm talking about. So that's what I said. No, I had to get rid of that. Both sides. I couldn't be one or the other. You can't be one or the other. Intellect must marry intuition in order for us to get the wisdom we need to be able to do what the hell we need to do. That's when you get common sense. When you let your intellect marry your wisdom, you get common sense.
That's right.
Okay, 'cause common sense ain't common. That's because people don't allow their intellect and their intuition to marry, and they marry so beautifully because that's the yin and the yang. That's the male and female
Oh,
energy. That's all of that shit. Okay, that's
mm-hmm.
the white and the black light. That's oh my god. That's up and down hell.
It's everything. It is both sides of the coin, and we want the whole coin, because
Right.
because you can't have one side without the other.
You can't have. Yeah, you cannot have beautiful growing plants without the shit to fertilize them. Okay.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. You want pretty flowers? Yeah. Well, shovel
You
some
gotta
shit.
dive
You
in
got to
that
shovel
shit.
some shit.
There
Like,
you go. Well,
absolutely.
move that.
Throw it.
No, be a shit shape shifter. There it is.
That's right. Yeah.
But be
I
superior at it.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Throw.
Well, I sometimes I can't say it because it
There's
depends.
too
Like I
there's too
just
many
woke
S's.
up. It's the S's. The S's. It's
That's
the
right.
four
That's
S's.
you can make a book of tongue twisters. Like, remember tongue
Man.
twisters? Ain't nobody playing tongue twisters. I haven't heard a good tongue twister in a long time.
Well, yeah, but you got to be able to shape your shit into the desired form in order for you to get to where you need to go. And everybody has their own unique shit with their own unique gems found in that shit.
That's right.
And you got to blend the good shit with the bad shit, the
That's right.
bitter with the
And
sweet,
and and
the
and that's
high
and
with the
that's
low.
fertilizer. And that's
And that's
fertilizing
all
what you're growing.
fertilizer.
That's fertilizing what you're growing.
That's right.
Throw away industry and profit, and there won't be any thieves. Once you start talking about industry and profit, you just start talking about, like, keeping things from people in exchange for things that they might not have.
And I find that this was so refreshing because last night, somebody was saying, well, Lois, you come on here and you give and you give it, but you're not taking clients and da 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 da. And you got to be more conscious about the value of what you give because you keep giving it away freely. And I said, look, I went to YouTube University for a lot of this shit. Okay. That was freely on for me. I went to the library. That was freely given. So I'm going to freely give it. And if God wants to monetize it, he'll monetize it. But he gave me things to monetize besides my wisdom.
That's right.
How
And
about that?
yeah, and that's it, right? Like, the idea that, like, everyone's telling you what to do. Get up off you.
Yes.
Get up off it, son.
But I know that what God has for me is for me, and he's going to monetize the things he wants me to monetize. And if he decides to monetize this, and he'll monetize it. But until that thing, I'm on here to give out my wisdom. Freely I receive, freely I give. And the thing is, and it's not like I can't get no more. Okay.
That's
It's
right.
not like that's all I got. I'm giving y'all just a taste, this a tip off my iceberg, baby. You
That's right.
know,
That's
I'm
right.
telling you highlighted stories that fit the topic area. I have not told my whole story in full volumes yet, and that's what it's probably gonna come to, and that's when he's gonna monetize it.
Yeah.
Because, but I ain't finished. I ain't at that. I'm like you, Marjan. I ain't finished yet. You got your venture to go on, your little pilgrimage. I got a
Yeah.
pilgrimage too. And when I finish my pilgrimage, he'll bring forth way more than I already have. And y'all think that, yo, this is good. I already know when he pour into me once I go to France, it's gonna be so. It may be a new day, and it may be a more advanced day than this, and then it may be some. I can't even imagine. All I know is I gotta go. Like you said, you gotta go on your dark thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And as long as I know I gotta go, I'm gonna go. And then when I come back, I already know I'm gonna have a refreshed view of everything because some questions are going to get answered that can't get answered here on U.S. soil.
That's right.
Okay, so like I said, you can I don't worry about the money, money coming. I don't, because God has given me enough right now to take care of my daily needs for a couple of years right now. So I'm
Good
not
on
gonna
you.
worry about no damn money. Okay, so
Don't worry about nothing. You're
oh no,
all
I'm
right.
not. I'm not.
You're all
I
right.
all I'm not concerned about, and I told somebody else is I'm concerned about right now is kept keeping my vibration calibrated to balance, to
Yeah.
keeping my vibration high, to keep learning things that's going to continue to elevate my consciousness and elevate me as a whole. And because I know as I elevate myself, I'm going to elevate everybody fucking around me because I'm going to share what I know so that we all can take this fucking ride together. It ain't about me leading nobody. It ain't about me following nobody. It's
That's
about
right.
all of us getting inside ourselves and following the true spirit of who we are. That's what I'm about. And if I got to do it for free, I don't feel no guilt by doing it for free. And I don't feel like, oh, what if they don't pay? And I thought that when I was doing therapy, I got to make them pay at least $1 because if they don't pay $1, they're not going to take it. Yeah, and that is true in some cases. But when you're doing this something on this thing and you're working with all these people with all these different
Mm.
minds and all the different growth areas, man, I just want to give it because everybody's wanting to grow. So I'm gonna give as much as I can. Now, if
Yeah.
God say stop,
You're gonna get just as good as you give.
there it is. And if God say stop, Martin, that's when I'll stop giving out the free advice
That's
or
right.
free
That's
this or
right.
free that or whatever. But right now, it's just a matter of I'm gonna flow with the flow and go where it goes.
That's right. Well, thank
So,
you for joining me. There is one more line, but I'm just going to read it and you've already covered it. So it says, if these three aren't enough, just stay in the center of the circle and let all things take their course, just like you've expressed. Thank you so much, Lois. Sonia is coming on. I don't know that Sonia has ever been on Tao of the Day. Oh my God. I think this is a first.
No, never. So
Oh my God.
it's the
Sonia,
first time
welcome to
here.
Tao of the Day.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I've been listening in, so that's part of the reasons. Love it. It's really
Yes.
nice.
So I don't know how familiar you are with this, but you just pick a number and we read the Tao together.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm gonna pick 77.
77. Okay. so we're gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna ask you for kind of like what are your initial thoughts, just what comes up, and then we'll go through it line by line so that we can understand the whole of it and where it all goes.
Sounds good.
All right. As it acts on the world, the Tao is like the bending of a bow. The top is bent downward, the bottom is bent up. It adjusts excess and deficiency so that there is perfect balance.
Hmm.
It takes from what is too much and gives to what isn't enough. Those who try to control use force. No, let me restart that. Those who try to control, who use force to protect their power, go against the direction of the Tao. They take from those who don't have enough and give to those who have far too much. The master can keep giving because there is no end to her wealth. She acts without expectation, succeeds without taking credit, and doesn't think that she's better than anyone else. Thoughts?
Wow. I that's pretty cool. I think.
Okay, wonderful. So, so I see that as, as very much as how nature works. If you ever watch those nature programs,
Mhm.
yeah, it's always interesting that like so many animals go into the drought, and it's like just before they've had too much, it rains.
Mm.
It's that balance. It's that, I'm going to give you now that you have, like there is a balance in the world, right? And sometimes that balance, especially here in our like Western, societal sort of experience, like there is this giving of too much, and there's this out of balance experience. So let's start with the first sort of line. The as it as it acts on the world, the Tao is like the bending of the bow. The top is bent down and the bottom is bent up. It adjusts excess and deficiency so there is perfect balance.
Mm.
It takes from what is too much and gives to what isn't enough. So how do you see that?
I love it. I mean, like for me, how should I say it about resilience and being able to adapt and for me, I see the flexibility of whatever life brings, right? You
Yeah.
just flow along with it. It bends and we bend accordingly, you know?
Yeah, for some reason this picture came into my mind, like going apple picking.
Mm.
Like if you go apple picking, sometimes you got to grab the branch. You got to reach really high up and you
Mhm.
grab the branch and pull it down just a little bit so you can grab that apple. It's
Yeah.
like there is this like I have to reach, but
Mhm.
it has to also be brought down. Like
Mm.
it's not just that I can reach up and grab it. Like that one apple that's just a little too far from, like, my reaching isn't
Mhm.
enough. So I have to work with the tree and bend it back down to me so that we can reach each other.
Wow. That's beautiful image. I mean, like, yeah, without hurting the tree and also getting the apple. Oh, I love.
Right. Yeah. And it's like the apple coming off the tree
Mhm.
relieves weight from the
Mm.
branch a little bit, right? And so like there's this giving and this receiving. It adjusts excess and deficiency. There are plenty of apples on the tree, but
Mm.
usually when you go apple picking, all the ones on the bottom are gone. So like
Mm-hmm. That's
by
true.
right? So by doing this act of working with the tree to bend each other, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
built to bend. We were built to bend.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are the fruit, sometimes, you know, as a listener, I have to reach and reach and reach. And sometimes I still can't reach the fruit that someone is trying to give me. So maybe I will express that, hey, I need you to bend a little bit so I can reach that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
then we can connect more like the Tao, right? Like it's not that, if you go into a school setting, sometimes people want to pride themselves on how much they know. So
Mm-hmm.
they pride themselves on how confused other people are.
It's interesting. Yeah. What? I mean, like, I've been thinking about, of course, talking about, schools and just because I'm dealing with some things. It's interesting how you kind of like talk about all of those things and the bending because I felt the give this morning.
Hmm.
Yeah, because, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just grateful, for.
Oh, well, good. Okay, so this continues to say, those who try to control, who use force to protect their power, go against the direction of the Tao. They take from those who don't have enough and give to those who have far too much. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. I mean, like what you just said, right? In the trees, there's lots of apples, you know?
Hmm.
It's just a matter of getting there. And if you do get a lot in your one polling, because there's more than one apple in one branches, right? So if you can bring that branch down and get a bunch, and other people can be shared as well. I mean, can share those apples as well, not just for you, right?
Right. Like those who try to control. So let's use the apple orchard as a thing. So
Mm-hmm.
those who try to control, who use force to protect their power. So if the power was the apple, you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to protect those apples. So you go and you quickly grab all of the apples
Mm-hmm.
that you can, and then you run away with them.
Mm-hmm.
This is going against the direction of the Tao. It's not in the direction of sharing, it is the direction of hoarding.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at, as we were speaking about education a little bit ago, if
Mm-hmm.
you don't bend so that your students can reach you,
Mm-hmm.
then you are also hoarding the information you have for the power that information gives you. And you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to control that power. You're trying to protect your power
Mm-hmm.
rather than allow other people like here, I know there's a common feeling in the United States of like, oh, if I let other people like learn the same thing I'm learning, well, then there's more competition and I don't want that, right? Like that's hoarding power. But
Mm-hmm.
like really being open to allowing everybody in and allowing everybody their voice is real power, is the power of the Tao, is that yielding power, is that receiving power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I love what you just read. I mean, it made sense, right? For
Yeah.
me, in the place where I am. I mean, I gone through the ups and downs of the life, and I feel like I'm now like okay with everything, right?
Yeah.
You know, so
It's interesting. I'm interested to ask about like what you're going through that this reverts to, because it's interesting because what's sticking out to me, and like as an energy healer and stuff, I kind of like pinpoint things, is this line: they take from those who don't have enough and give to those who have far too much.
mhm.
I'm interested in what you're experiencing these days in which that's happening.
Yeah, let's talk about like in terms of, because I am a new entrepreneur, right? And so 2 years ago is when I kind of transitioned, right? And of course, going, the description that you made, because I came about all these mentors that came to me, right? And these are really successful people, right?
Hmm.
And so that gives that you were talking about, is their knowledge and their expertise in those. And I've learned from, I feel is one of the best in the industry. And I feel now, that I can also, be able to, kind of like fast, what is that word? Pay forward,
Like
pay
fast
it forward.
track. Oh,
Yeah.
pay it forward.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
fast
you can
tag
do
and
for
pay,
others.
pay
Yeah.
it forward as well. Yeah, the two
Yeah,
words. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, in that
Okay.
sense, I'm yeah, I've been really grateful at the journey that I went through, because not only coming out from but breakdown of a relationship, but also going into a different kind of relationship that is in many ways benefiting more people.
Oh, that's beautiful. And like what it's saying here, it acts like you are acting in the world like the Tao. Like you are bending down and the bottom is being bent up. And even though there's struggle, you're utilizing that struggle to continue to reach others.
Mm, nice. Yeah, that's how I feel. I just feel like, where I am today is like, no matter what comes to me, throw at me, however you want to phrase it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say I'm good, let's go,
Yeah. And that line right there brings us into this last section, which states, the master can keep giving because there is no end to her wealth. She acts without expectation, succeeds without taking credit, and doesn't think that she's better than anyone else.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know exactly like what you do, Martin John, because this is my first time listening into for a little while, right? And I wanted to know you a little more, and so just by talking, I mean, listening into what you've done with the others, kind of like I don't even know what the Tao of the day is. So forgive me for the ignorance, but I'm, just by coming here, I feel so, so much better. How about that?
Well, I'm grateful for you for coming on and sharing with me, because it can be a little scary. It's like I'm picking a number. I don't know what this is. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I'll reach out to you, and then we can have a conversation, and we can see what we do, and we can talk a little bit more. I'll join you on your channels a little bit more, and we'll talk.
Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah, I know. I've kind of given you the scoop of what I do, but that was a while back. So we'll refresh, and then we'll talk. But yeah, this, like, where you are in terms of like your accordance with living within a reasonable life, right? So the Tao Te Ching translates to the canon of reason, and
Mhm.
as we finish this off, it says, the master can keep giving because there is no end to her wealth. She acts without expectation, succeeds without taking credit, and doesn't think she's better than anyone else. And I think, Sonia, that really encapsulates what we were talking about today for you.
Mhm. Yeah, I appreciate it. And not
Absolutely.
saying that I, I don't really go into these kind of things. I just like, I mean, like, it's so weird. It's just a trip to everywhere for me. It was like, but anyways, this is something new and I appreciate it.
Well,
And
I'm glad that you trusted me enough to step up and
no, I
and
just want to say hi to you.
oh, well,
And of course, being that I listen to everyone, and of course, now that we're discussing all of these, and I'm understanding, because you understand by participating and learning from this kind of thing, right?
yeah.
And so I really appreciate what you just said, and certainly, in all the places of things, you fit into one area of my life that kind of been missing in many ways, right? But I'm grateful. So
Oh, well, I am as well. I am as well. Thank you so much. We'll be connecting again, and best of luck for the rest of your day. I hope this stays with you, and you realize, like, and you can really embrace that, like, you're here now, and that's a beautiful thing.
yeah, thanks, Martin John. Have an awesome day.
Yeah, you as well. We're bringing Julie on. Thank you so much, Sonia. That was such a beautiful first Tao of the day for you.
Hello.
Hello, my dear. How are you? It's so
I'm
good.
all
It's like I'm always like, where's Julie? What the hell?
it's the Julie bird. Yay!
Did you
I've got
work
a
overnight
visitor.
again?
Sorry.
Did you work
No,
overnight again?
no, I did sleep really well actually. I worked the night before, and then yesterday I slept for a while, and then I went to bed and had a really good night's sleep. But I've got a visitor for you today. I've got another granddaughter for you, and her name's Sophie.
Sophie. I got
Yeah.
Sophie. I got Millie. Sophie, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
How old are you, Sophie?
I'm nearly 16.
You're nearly 16. Do you like numbers?
Yeah,
Okay, I want you to pick one between the number 1 and 81.
7.
7. Is that your favorite number?
No, it's just the first one that came to my head.
That's better. It's better than using your favorite. It's better just to kind of be open to the things. So you're nearly 16, and how's life treating you?
Good.
Yeah, you like life.
Yeah.
At nearly 16, you like life.
You cannot
Yeah.
hold the phone.
Wow, that's impressive. Like, I was not happy with life at 16. But you know what? I'm gonna trust that you, like, are you good in school?
Yeah.
You do good in school. Okay, I wasn't doing good in school. Do you do sports?
No.
No, that's
Tell
probably
him
a
what
good
you
thing.
like. Tell him what you like.
I
What do
used
you
to
like?
do ballet though.
You used to do ballet.
Yeah.
Did you like? Did you just didn't like the clothes? Was that it, or did you?
No, it just got boring after a while doing the
Oh
same.
yeah, standing on your tiptoes all the time,
Yeah.
man. You know, I want you to know that I'm playful, so I'm not trying to be serious about stuff. I'm just kind of having fun with you.
Yeah.
She's my
Okay, so
friend.
I just want you to be.
I've told her that you are a very good friend of mine.
Well, I am, and you
So
are
that's
mine. Yeah.
yeah, that's why I introduced you to all of my family because I'm so proud to be your friend. Actually,
Oh, see, look at that. Like, look, I'm a friend of your I'm a friend of your Grams. So here, this is you picked a number, and I'm going to read something, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, so this is how this goes. I'm reading something from the Tao Te Ching, which is an ancient text. It's kind of like the old Bible, right? But it
a way
is
of living, a
from
way of thinking.
yeah, it's really old. So it might sound a little strange, but when we go through it line by line, it'll be a little easier. So I'm going to read it to you and then I'm going to ask you what you think. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Tao is infinite, eternal. Why is it eternal? Because it was never born. Thus, it can never die. Why is it infinite? It has no desire for itself. Thus, it is present for all things. The master you stays behind. That is why she is ahead. She is detached from all things. That is why she is at one with them. Because she has let go of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled. What about that made you think anything?
Mm, it's kind of cool.
Okay. So we'll go through this line by line just because like there's some concepts in here there's some ideas in here that are really kind of deep. And do you have you ever had any experience with like the church?
Um, not really.
Okay.
Only
Do you
going to like weddings and christenings, and that's it.
okay? Do you believe in God?
Mm, I don't really know.
Okay. Okay. Do you
Believe in it? No, that's fine.
so okay, that's cool. So in like do you think about what do you like science?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, what kind of science do you like?
Biology.
Biology. Okay. So that's beautiful. All right, so here we're going to read this through and there's going to be some confusing ideas. So I want to hear what your thoughts are. The Tao is infinite and eternal. Does that what does that mean to you when I say that?
Like forever and never ending.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So it says here that why is it eternal? It was never born and it can never die. Do you have any idea what that would be like?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Like, I have no idea. No idea what that could be like. Why is it infinite? It has no desire for itself.
What do you think of that? That's quite a deep one. That one.
Yeah.
It
It
has
doesn't
no
think about.
desire for itself.
Yeah. It doesn't even know it's there. It's just there.
Yeah. It's like, you know how what do you want right now, Sophie?
Um, I don't know.
What would be something that you would like?
Like whether it's food or whether it's to get off this app, to stop talking to this guy. Like, what would you like right now?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's cool.
Pretty
So
open.
that's interesting. When you don't want anything, you have no desire. So why? So when you don't have desire, you can be present for all things. So if you don't have desire for anything and someone gave you an ice cream, you'd be like, "Oh, I have an ice cream. That's nice." Now, it's not that you wanted ice cream and someone gave you a Brussels sprout, because then you'd be like, well, I wanted an ice cream. I didn't want a Brussels sprout. Now you have this problem, right? In order to be infinite, in order to be open to everything, you have to exist without having desire. Like once you want something, now you can be sad that you don't get it. But if you
Yeah.
don't want something, if you are where you are right now in this moment where you don't know what you want, you don't want anything. Everything that comes to you, you can receive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want an ice cream?
Yeah.
Now we have desire and everything's changed. Okay, so what it goes on to say here is the master stays behind. That is why she is ahead. What is that thing? What do you think about that?
It's a bit confusing.
It is confusing. Have you ever in school, when you do like your sports and stuff, there was a captain of the team and he or she was always like, "Hey, let's go, let's do this," and you just rolled your eyes and were like, "God, I wish you would just shut up."
Yeah.
Yeah. See, now that is what this means, right? The master stays behind. That is why she is ahead. When someone tries to be ahead of you and tries to get you to do things that they want you to do, they can't be ahead because there are people that are going to invariably, like you, roll your eyes and tell them to shut up. So it's when you can be quiet and when you can allow, if that captain was would be able to allow you to be excited as you need to be or not excited as you need to be. Maybe you won't win the game, but maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe what matters is that they can communicate with you without you rolling your eyes and telling them to shut up. She is attached from all things. That is why she is at one with them. Right? Remember how we talked about you have no desire? That kind of
Yeah.
relates to this. If you are detached from all things, you can be at one with them. If you don't want that ice cream, if you don't want that ice cream, if you do not have desire, when someone gives you a Brussels sprout, you'll be like, oh, great. I mean, I kind of don't want this either, but at least I have a Brussels sprout. Whereas the moment you get attached to something, the moment you get attached to the idea of, I want an ice cream, and Julie, I think you're going to have to take her for an ice cream. But if you say like I want an ice cream, the minute someone gives you a Brussels sprout, you're going to be like, I don't. This is nowhere near what I wanted. Like, this is the worst thing. But when you can detach yourself from it, if you are attached to getting an A, if you're attached to winning, if you're attached to getting an ice cream,
Anything other is a disappointment. So you've
everything else
invested in.
becomes a disappointment.
Yeah.
And then you get upset at the thing or the people or the captain who wants you to do a certain thing and you just can't be bothered. You're just like, look, I don't want to be excited about your stupid game.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be forced to be excited about the stupid game. And if you weren't forced, maybe you will find a way to be excited about something. And that's what it means here when it says she is detached. You don't care if they're excited or you're excited. You're okay. You're all good. Don't be bothered. And
You're
then
all
you can meet somebody.
yourself. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, because she has let go of herself. And what that means, because she has let go of herself, is the idea of who you are. So if I were to ask you, can you tell me 5 things that you are? I know you're a sister, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I know you're a daughter, right?
Yeah.
I know you like school.
Yeah.
I know you don't play sports.
Yeah.
Tell me one more thing about you.
Um. mm, that I like staying at my nan's house.
Okay, you like staying at your nan's house. That's great. So all of those things are true today. So that makes you yourself. But what if one day you realize you like to play sports? If you continue to define yourself as someone who didn't play sports, you might decide to not play sports just because that's who you think you are. And so when it says here, because she has let go of herself, you've let go of the idea that you don't play sports. You're perfectly fulfilled. Meaning that when the idea comes in that you want to play sports or you want to, or when you have to change the definition of who you are, you're ready to change. That way you can be fulfilled with whatever comes to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Start
And
my new.
that's number 7 for the Tao.
Yay! What do you think?
Sophie, I hope that wasn't too scary.
No, it wasn't.
Good.
It's food for thought, and that's just lovely. So
It's
we'll
I
probably be talking about it later when you stay at my house.
and it's important to not define yourself as someone that likes to stay at Nan's house, because maybe you might not be able to do that for a little while.
Yeah,
So although that is part of your identity, it's part of who you think you are, you're going to have to find other things that you like as well.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to find your own voice, and by doing that you're going to be able to fulfill your path, because your path doesn't have anything to do with your Nan.
I can only encourage you in your path by doing what I do.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
Nan's pretty awesome, BT dubs.
Well, you're so lovely, and you always give us a gem, with
Well,
the
that was
Tao.
all Sophie's idea. She picked number 7 and we went through it, so I was glad that we went through it.
Yeah, and me. So we'll chat about that later, because I was listening in as well, and it's even though Sophie chose the number, because I was there was something there for me too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And everyone that's listening, if you hear it, it's yours.
That's it. That's exactly it. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, Martin. Can you hear my very noisy car?
Yes, is that a car? I thought someone was like moaning in the background. That might have been Millie in the background complaining.
That's my Martin. How dare you? But yeah, it's a very noisy car. I'm just going to go and take Sophie back now, because I
All
picked her
right.
up from school. But thank you so much, Martin.
Absolutely. Sophie,
Oh,
thank you for joining me. Thank you for trusting your Nan and then trusting me
yeah,
and talking about some stuff.
yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thank you.
You
Take
ladies
care,
have a
young man.
wonderful afternoon.
And you too.
Ciao now.
Sending you lots of love.
Oh, thank you. Oh, look at that. I get love and then she drops off. So beautiful. I usually talk to the adults, but and I hope Sophie realizes I'm not skilled at talking to children. So I hope that I express that well enough. And I don't want you're nearly 16. You're not a child anymore, right? I look at adults as 13 or over. But really it's a pleasure to chat with you and to communicate, and you I hope that I brought you through that well, just because it's not easy to understand the Tao is hard to understand for me. I'm glad you picked one that I could talk about and I could help walk you through. But yeah, really appreciate you trusting me to do that, and really appreciate Julie, your Nan, for giving me the opportunity to meet such a beautiful young mind. Thank you. So yeah, I want to thank each and every one of you who came up and joined me on this Tao of the Day. I started early and I actually thought it was going to be a really short one because people don't always join me. But Sonia joined me today. What a big joy that brings me to have her experience the Tao for the first time. And then Nafisa, it's always wonderful. I mean, it's hit and miss on her, but in terms of like seeing her, she's not a regular, but I really love having her on. Lois, Energy Lady, Catherine, Julie, you're all so beautiful. I love you all. Thank you so much. And, again, I really love more men to show up, but just happens to be that, the ladies love me. No, I'm just teasing. But yeah, it's great to work with women, and especially in the Tao, because the Tao is such a feminine, energetic space. All right. Well, I'm Martin John, the recovery mentor. I host the Recover Yourself podcast. I have workshops coming up. I got a workshop coming up on the 15th. This is Tuesday. Next week, and this is to support the launch of the Sober app. So if you're sober or sober curious, you're going to want to check out the Sober app. I'm also on Owl, and you're going to want to check me out on Owl. I still don't have a schedule of me going up there yet, but you're going to want to listen to that, and we can chat there if you come up. And anything else? Yes, I work with a limited number of clients one-on-one each month. If you like the work that I do, you can check out my link tree, which you can find for my Instagram, or you can go to my website and you can reach out to me. And if you like what I do, you can send money through Venmo at martinjohn_Garcia. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys for listening, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Until next time, keep recovering yourself.